The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Dan Eve, the Crypto Raptor.
Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks, and shortly after everything tanks.
Ugly old goat from the Bitcoin Standard Conference.
Hodl, hodl, hodl. Save. Builder. Sound money.
Josh Shigala from Voltoro.
The Times, 03, January 09. Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks.
And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue one. Issue one. Elon Musk to hold crypto he owns, Tesla to resume Bitcoin payments when it's safer. Yes, Elon Musk is back again, messing with Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Ethereum this time, saying that he owns the crypto he owns and he's not going to sell. Hooray for you, Elon. More billionaires who can hold their investment. I'm sure it's so difficult for you to pay rent, all of your regular life expenses that make you sell your investment. Hooray for these billionaires. Dan Eve, Elon Musk is back again. He says that Tesla will take Bitcoin just as soon as it's environmentally friendly. Couldn't he have just done this research before? Aren't we once again with this Elon Musk doesn't do his research, makes his decisions on podcasts once again?
Yeah, for someone who's, so knowledgeable in his own fields of like rockets and stuff and batteries, you'd think that he'd do a bit more research on the greenness of Bitcoin. It must surely, he must have known about mining and the power consumption. So as someone who's involved in, two companies, one which promotes kind of clean air from no car fumes, which is Tesla, and then the other company like jets out like huge amounts of rocket waste into the atmosphere. So you'd think that he was pretty high on his list, but he seems to be doing the celebrity switcheroo, going back and forth, doing a bit of a Katy Perry, hot and cold, yes and no, in and out, wrong and right. Hopefully he sticks. He said he's hodling now. He also said that what was quite interesting that I didn't know before was that SpaceX holds Bitcoin, and then alluded to something like the fact that it's going to play a part in the future. So maybe there's going to be some cool block streams like link up there with a satellite or something, or maybe he's going down the route which I proposed a while back, which was the Dyson sphere. So he's planning to greenify Bitcoin by producing some sort of huge Dyson sphere that provides clean electricity off planet. So I think it's kind of good that it sounds like he's back on board, but obviously he's messing with a lot of people. It's just sad to see that a billionaire like that kind of messing around with tweets, and he knows the impact that tweets can move markets, because he got called up by the SEC for doing it with Tesla and got the back of his hand slapped. So doing it with Bitcoin, it's the same principle, right? Except that it's a bit more Wild Westy and unregulated. So there's no one to slap him on the back of the wrists at the moment. I think it's good that he's hodling and that he said that, and hopefully he stops messing around with markets and funny little I'm breaking up memes with Bitcoin. Forget about all that old stuff and just do the pump stuff. Elon, come on, just do the pump stuff and come back.
Oh, but he wants to poke it with a stick. Ugly old goat, your thoughts on Elon Musk's return to Bitcoin again?
Well, except for Michael Saylor, I think this whole institutional investor thing is a scam. Well, maybe not a scam, but at least very overrated. And I think people realize that now. People that bought the $60,000 Bitcoin that's now worth $30,000 are waking up to that. Look, we're getting ready to go in a huge long-term sustained marketplace. It's not coming from the institutions. You guys, it's coming. There's two kinds of entrepreneurs in the world. Okay. There's those that have Bitcoin and there's those that don't have Bitcoin. And the next move in Bitcoin is coming from those of us who have Bitcoin, teaching those entrepreneurs without Bitcoin how to use it. Michael Saylor's done a great job of reaching out and doing that with his educational program. Elon Musk, I wouldn't pay him a hoot's worth of attention. The same thing with that Twitter guy, whatever his name is. Don't follow these guys. Just do whatever you're doing and be the very best at it. And hodl Bitcoin. Hodl, save, and build on Bitcoin.
Amen. That's right. Josh Segala, your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree on that. These obsessions with personalities in the space is extremely dangerous. We just got to look at the technology, look at what it can do, build on it, build businesses with it, earn it. You know, everyone's obsessed with buying it, but you should earn it, because that's really how the economy bootstraps. And use Lightning, use the new stuff. Use the upgraded version. Check it out. It's really, really easy. Go to lnbits.com, have a look, open up a Lightning wallet, use a Lightning wallet on your phone, and start using it, and send your friends some. So this is what we should do. If you have a YouTube channel or a Twitch channel, you can accept and trigger nice little GIFs on the screen with Lightning payments. There's all sorts of really fun stuff you can do. Get amongst it. Don't worry about these large players. Large players are large players. They're going to play. But at the same time, the whole notion that he's never going to sell, it's ridiculous. Of course he's going to sell. He's a capitalist. He'll sell it when he needs, thinks it's the top, and that's it. Like, I don't buy this whole like, oh no, I'm holding it forever. No, I mean he's got a reason for buying it, and that's to hedge against the collapse of the dollar. And why hold dollars when you can hold Bitcoin? So and he stated that it was a large portion of his holdings, the largest outside of Tesla and SpaceX, and a tiny bit of boring tunnel, I think he also stated. But he said outside of that, he doesn't really own any stock. He owns Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge. So good on him. But what I don't appreciate is the community loving him when he's like, yeah, I got Bitcoin, absolutely trashing and hating him when he's like, brings up some arguments against it, and then loving him again when he's positive. Like, just stop worrying about the guy. Like, he's allowed to have his viewpoint. He's allowed to shit on it, whatever. This is important. This is what makes it anti-fragile. And the same when China dumps on it and says, ooh, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Stop listening to these large players.
Exit question. Is Elon Musk serious? Is this really how he does business? Tesla accepts Bitcoin randomly one day. He does a little bit of research, thinks it's bad for the environment, then retracts. Now he's going to accept it again, seemingly making his decisions during podcasts. Is this really how Elon Musk runs things? Dan Eve, the Crypto Raptor.
Well, it seems to be, he's kind of quite like a, what's the word, like a crowd worker. I kind of imagine him as an older version of like that video on YouTube where there's this little kid stood across the street from like a parade or something. There's all these people, and the kid lifts his arm, and everyone goes, and then they, and that just continues for ages. And he's kind of like that. He's kind of like a big kid. He's messing with people. He knows that. He knows that he can move markets, and he also probably, let's be honest, he probably has a lot of friends that kind of work and play the shorts and stuff. And imagine if you're friends with Elon and you're hanging out with him, and you're just like, oh mate, it'd be funny if you just post a meme of something of like breaking up with Bitcoin, and then right at that second you short Bitcoin like massively, and then suddenly you make a ton of money, and from Elon sort of writing this little tweet. So I'm not really into conspiracies that much, but I think something like that is quite possible that maybe not done to manipulate for just financial gain, but just to mess around people and just to have a bit of fun. So I say stop the fun, stop having fun now, and just shill Bitcoin, or don't shill Bitcoin. It's anti-fragile. It doesn't care. It's like a honey badger from that.
Either way, no more fun for Elon Musk. Ugly Old Goat, your thoughts? Is Elon Musk serious?
Well, Yeah, I think he's real serious. I think that most fascists are very serious. They believe, in uh, private ownership, but government partnerships and controls. And he's built an entire empire built on subsidies. He's not a true entrepreneur in any way or spirit of the, in the sense. He's a fraud from top to bottom, but he's in bed with a lot of very powerful fraudsters. And so, it's really sad that even right here we're holding him up on a pedestal and acknowledging him. He's a non-event as far as I'm concerned. And the Tesla, we're going to be finding out just how this. We've got a lot of these Tesla stations down here, and I never see anybody filling them up. In fact, there's a hotel down here. They're just lined up, and they don't know what to do with them. They can't park cars there. They can't store anything there. I think it might be a disaster waiting to happen. We'll just have to see. That's what happens. We build these bubbles, and the bubbles are built with subsidies and partnerships. And that's what he's done he's built an entire empire on that. And a lot of people think it's a house of cards. And I think there's a good reason to think it is.
Ugly old goat, not a Tesla fan. Joshua Shigala, your thoughts on Elon Musk's seriousness?
Ugly's right, man. Like he has built it on subsidies. I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla is getting carbon credits from the state and then selling them to SpaceX so that they can spew out the crap and sort of equaling out the businesses like that and turning over like tax profits somehow. I don't know how it's doing it, but I'm pretty sure that buying or using Bitcoin would have added to Tesla maybe not being able to have those carbon credits. Then maybe there's something there. But non-event, screw him, whatever. Good on you. Buy it, sell it, hold it, whatever. Bitcoin don't care.
Just like to ask everyone watching to give us a thumbs up down below and say hello in the chat. We've got 35 live viewers on YouTube. Say hello. How's it going? Moving on to issue 2. Issue 2. Jack Dorsey hopes Bitcoin can bring about world peace. Usually it's just mad Bitcoins talking about Bitcoin ending the domination of the dollar and the ability of the government to print money to buy new weapons. But now it's Jack Dorsey, and he's got a ring in his nose and a really long beard. He also says that Bitcoin is the future of Twitter, revolutionizing everything from tip jars to super followers. It's almost like change tip 5 years ago. Ugly old goat, what do you think about Jack Dorsey, world peace, and Bitcoin being the future of Twitter?
Problem that you have right now is the world seems, and he comes from a libertarian background, and the libertarian backgrounds, they tend to come from the Murray Rothbard school, and they believe in individual sovereignty. And you know what? That's really secular humanism, because again, this is my belief, is I believe in the sovereignty of God and not the sovereignty of men. And so the idea that that Bitcoin is going to bring about world peace kind of sounds a bit like Roger Ver saving all the dying babies of the world. And this is just a bunch of BS, that it's getting a lot of attention that needs to just be thrown out the window. Guys, he's another total fraud, and he'll send you in a heartbeat.
One time they built a really big tower and they united all the languages, and that didn't work out well either. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on Jack Dorsey and world peace?
I mean, I don't know. Of course, the whole censorship thing is a different story. I'm not a big fan of that. I do think that censorship is needed because there's pretty god awful things happening in the world. Like I don't want to see people getting their heads cut off and stuff, or whatever people want to post. So you need to have some sort of censorship. But I think when you start censoring legitimate political speech, it's pretty unimpressive. Whether you believe, whether you agree with it or not. In terms of world peace, well, I think Bitcoin can create world peace by defunding basically the state from being able to print money, where the state would actually need to actually do work to create money. So they can't just promise money out of nowhere. They can't just say, we'll build you everything for free if you vote for us, because that's a ridiculous way to go. Rather than, we work to find value, we build value, we earn value through, some sort of trade, and we build a good society. Instead, it's sort of this fraudulent system where they can just print as much money as they want out of thin air, ask for interest on that out of nowhere, tax on that, print more, do whatever, and give it to their mates, and have this sort of fascistic value circle that they can jerk around on. So it's, in that way, yeah, I think it is. But these sort of talking points of what the crypto sphere has been saying forever, it's like he picks the old stuff that they were saying in 2010, 11, 12, 13 and onwards, and sort of says the same thing that all our cypherpunks were saying, and then say like, oh, well, wow, Jack Dorsey is so amazing for saying these things. Well, we've been saying them forever in the community. Just because he's rich, just because he has a successful platform, doesn't mean it's any more valuable than before. Good on you for parodying the same.
It's very different for him to say these things as the owner of the platform, as the boss. Sure, it's great. The boss, he likes open technologies, he likes open source, he likes other people to do the work for him. He hasn't said anything about getting rid of ads, which would get rid of his ability to spy on everyone. Until then, you're always a product of the ads, and he hasn't addressed that at all. Bitcoin doesn't seem to cure advertising. Maybe you could just pay for it differently now.
Yeah, I totally like. The thing with Twitter is that if he's such a big fan, I do like the fact that he's added some value to be able to pay some developers. So that's really cool. And that's more than like Michael Saylor's done. As far as I know, I'm not aware of Michael Saylor actually funding development or funding startups in the space to help the grow. It's very easy just to buy and be a free rider in the system. And this is typical problem in the anarcho-capitalist philosophy of saying, hey, there's this free rider problem where if we all pay for something, yet no one will pay for it because they'll just ride along free with everyone else's work. Well, I kind of feel like that's the case with a lot of these super wealthy men. They got so many resources. They could really help by investing, even investing. They're not giving it. They're investing in projects in the space, but rather they just buy the coin and then, go on and repeat stuff that us people have in the space been for a long time been saying forever, and then they get all like, ooh, he's so amazing for saying this stuff.
Well, just like Elon in the last project, it's not enough for him to buy crypto or to tell people about it. He has to join the religion too. The same thing with Saylor, all the quotes, all the talk, all the recycled old lines that everyone's heard before, but suddenly are viral and noteworthy. These rich people, they've changed everything. They've changed everything. Crypto Raptor, world peace, piece of pizza, Jack Dorsey.
Oh, I must say, I do think, world peace it's a beautiful thing. It's this, this fantastic utopia. Is it ever going to happen? No. Is Bitcoin going to help it? Like, probably not. I don't know. There's so much fighting in Bitcoin. There's not even peace in the Bitcoin community. There's, whether you're in or out, there's like fighting over whether it's a Ponzi, whether it's a bubble, fighting over shit coins, block size, power usage, memes, hard forks, soft forks, whether it's used for fraud or not, whether you should buy the dip, whether it's the bottom. Like, everyone's always fighting. So I don't see it bringing about world peace. And in terms of like the financial inequality, I think, I was always with the opinion that, once the institutions get involved, maybe from a pumping Bitcoin perspective, but the fact is it's just going to make it is going to make the rich richer, because it just is like it does. That's what it kind of does. You have more money, you've got more money to buy Bitcoin, therefore you're going to get more rich. So Whilst it's nice to have these little utopian dreams, and it is beautiful that you can think about Bitcoin bringing about world peace, it's not quite so realistic. But what is good is it being used to help a country like El Salvador, with Lightning being rolled out, and people who didn't have a bank account now able to transact, and only they've been able to do that, because the Lightning network's so cheap. So that you couldn't get, for example, the unbanked on the Bitcoin main chain, because the fees are obviously it's more of a settlement layer, right? So Lightning is the thing that's gonna bring about for Bitcoin the main unbanking of people, and it won't be unbanked. They will be Bitcoined. They wouldn't be banked. They would become Bitcoined, and they will use Bitcoin and live Bitcoin and breathe it, and know that's their money system, rather than an inflated, crazy dollar that gets printed out of thin air. But I've just got to say kudos, for the fact that Square are, they do have that fund that's for development. The fact that I think they're building a hardware wallet, so it'd be cool if that's open source. Surely that should go with the rest of the kind of the ethos of being open source. And also, he's mentioned like decentralized financial services. So I wonder what that means. There's going to be like a Square Dex, a Twitter Dex, or something crazy like that. They're going to have like farms and yams and all that sort of level, or will it be like on using Bitcoin, or will it be just another place where you can buy Bitcoin in I don't know. But the interesting thing is, we as other people have mentioned, is about the censorship. So one of the biggest things about Bitcoin, if you think about one of the pillars of Bitcoin, is the fact that it's censorship resistant. But at the same time, Jack is obviously becoming a big proponent of Bitcoin, but at the same time, Twitter censors the hell out of people. So that's a kind of interesting contrast. So hopefully, his opinion on the censorship resistance of Bitcoin swings what's happening in Twitter universe as well.
What was one of the first ideas they had for PayPal was to make a cryptocurrency that probably would have been similar to Bitcoin, but they understood right away if people could use it outside of the PayPal website, they'd never be able to control what those people were using it for. And that was obviously a disaster for the company, leading towards more centralized PayPal, eBay PayPal that we ended up having. Of course, Dan, if your investment doesn't make the rich richer, what good is it, right? Moving on to the exit question, but what about Twitter, the platform? They've got Twitter Spaces, which is just like Clubhouse, an audio-only chat room. They've got Periscope being blended into the platform, a way to shoot live video of anything, anywhere, anytime. They've got the ability to upload videos, graphics, now long images, messages that'll definitely be leaked to the world. What about Twitter, the platform? What do you think about Twitter versus, say, Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp that are all the same company? Ugly Old Goat, your thoughts on Twitter, the platform. Are you ready? Almost ready.
I'm not much of a techie guy, and so I use Twitter, but I just keep on doing my thing, and I mainly just write articles on Medium, and then I happen to get some Twitter followers. That was kind of a bonus to it all. So yeah, I don't have I guess there's going to be decentralized. I'd sure like to see a uncensorable Twitter, and yet what do you have? I mean, look, we used to have 50 years ago banned books, but it was basically what we've now just categorized it into pornography, and pornography was at one time just banned. And so, how do you but we're not, this isn't pornography that's being censored. There's those rules are in place. It's just the message that you have. Now, so far I haven't been, but it's probably because I don't have a lot of followers, because I'm sure I've said some things that are very bannable. So I don't have the answer to these things. And like I say, to me, Twitter is just fun and games, and that's what I use it for. That's my focus is on other things, so just have fun on Twitter, but do whatever you're doing, do a good job at it, and you'll get along just fine.
It seems like in the near future, you could do your shopping, your banking, and everything on Twitter, just like Facebook and Instagram. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on the incredible expanding Twitter of 2021?
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever you think of Trump, them banning Trump and the last 4 years of conversations and arguments online and people's reactions to his tweets. This is historical background, and all of a sudden it's all gone. It's just all gone, and that to me is really horrific. That should be there. So I don't like the power that a central authority has just to go, no, that deserves to be wiped off the planet, even though there's historical importance there. Where whatever you believe in it, there's the president of the United States talking directly with the world, and Jack decides it should be all gone. And I just feel that leaves a really, really scary taste in my mouth. The one thing that's scarier than that is if the state tells Twitter to be more fair. And, so I'd rather keep it in the personal hands. And if they decide that that's what they want to do, then do it. And people using Twitter can actually just leave. There's no, leaving it voluntarily is great. What I would like to see on the platform is the ability to have a true timeline instead of an algorithm choosing what I see, because timelines, that would really, I think, is a better thing. Algorithms choosing what I see rather than a pure timeline of my followers is very, very, very open to manipulation. And so that is one thing I'd like to see, is be able to, for me to go see exactly by date ordering of tweets coming through. Even though, maybe I won't get the nicest, most relevant stuff to me, but I want that to be my choice of seeing the latest stuff in a sequence rather than some algorithm trying to choose the narrative that I should read.
I'm not an algorithm. You're an algorithm. And there is a website with an archive of all of Trump's tweets preserved for history, I guess. So, but that is a good point overall, Josh. It could have been someone whose tweets weren't being archived or weren't being archived by the Congressional Record Service, things like that. Dan, Eve, your thoughts on Twitter versus Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp that are all the same company?
Well, I did think it was quite funny that there was a few articles that came out of like really panicked people a couple of months after Trump's like Twitter account got banned, and they were like, "What do I do? My revenue stream's completely decimated now that I can't moan at what every Trump tweet, the tweet that comes out. I've literally lost my livelihood." But I do think it's sad, it's that thing of erasing history. Like, people should be able to learn from it. And let's face it, there's plenty of other stuff that you see on a daily basis on Twitter that's like really, really messed up that people probably shouldn't see, from shootings and stuff to all sorts. Like, there's plenty out there that you could say was far more damaging. I think it's kind of sad, but at the same time, it's you've got to protect people. I don't know, and how far do you go? Like, where do you draw the line? Between the censorship of any idea and protecting people. That it's that screaming fire in a cinema thing, isn't it? It's how do you extrapolate out of that? What is a sensible line to draw on Twitter? But I think if obviously Facebook's got their Diem or whatever that they're going to be bringing out, Twitter's Jack's hellbent on Bitcoin, so I think that there's definitely one up on Facebook's Diem, which sounds like a dime bar or something, maybe soft on the outside, crunchy on the inside, or whatever it is. But I think I would like to see Twitter teaming up with LN Bits so that you could send a lightning payment to blow smoke in someone's face for saying something stupid. I'd love to see that. Maybe that would be pretty cool. Or that little Ben slapping machine, like it literally would produce an arm out of the phone and slap them, maybe even before. Maybe that's the way censorship should work. So before they say something stupid, like an arm comes out the phone and slaps them around the face and says, "Do you really want to say such a stupid thing?" But yeah, apart from that, I'm intrigued to see where they can push Bitcoin, with the super follows and tip jars and stuff like that. At the end of the day, it's utility for Bitcoin. So Yeah. Anything that uses Bitcoin more and showcases Bitcoin more is a good thing.
I'd almost forgotten that Facebook changed the name of LibraCoin to DM, and I still don't care. Moving on. Check out shop.worldcryptonetwork.com, where you can get World Crypto Network t-shirts and mugs and more. We've got Treasures Don't Float. I've got a World Crypto Network mug right here. We've even got the Hal Finney shirts and more at shop.worldcryptonetwork.com. Moving on to issue 3. Issue 3, Malaysian police steamroll Bitcoin mining machines. Authorities on Borneo Island discovered the machines worth an estimated 5.3 million ringgit or $1.25 million in crackdowns between February and April. 8 people were arrested and allegedly stealing the equivalent of $2 million worth of electricity. The crypto miners stole electricity, the police official said. Their actions were dangerous for life and property as they can cause power outage. The government then proceeded to destroy all of the Bitcoin mining machines and all of the value contained there within. Josh Shigala, your thoughts on this incredible new Malaysian government steamroller action?
I mean, this is typical propaganda. Look at it. I mean, it's like all laid out perfectly with these steamrollers going over it. Now, I wonder if they grabbed all the abacuses as well and destroyed some other maths solving machines. An absolute ridiculous, ludicrous, typical government thing to do. Like, instead of selling the machine, selling the machines, let's have some. This is a $1.4 million propaganda campaign. Like, they literally burnt money. They're saying, oh, the poor people of this country, they could actually put those machines on their power stations. So when the power at nighttime is producing excess, it could mine some Bitcoin for them. But instead, let's use it for a marketing campaign about how good our cops are that busted these people that are entrepreneurs working. I mean, such disgusting, typical statist nonsense. It really is awful. It's gross.
I'm glad we got to go to Josh first on that one. And sure, they could have also put them on boats and shipped them out of their country, to keep the Bitcoin evil out of their country. They could have taken pictures of that too. But what a great video they got. Like Josh said, $1 million video. Dan,
but does it blend?
I know they could have gotten more hits. They could have gone more viral with it. They could have destroyed them in more creative and unique ways. This was kind of steamrollers, kind of basic. Dan, Eve, something better than a steamroller?
I think they could have blended it. That's for sure. I would have been behind that. But steamrolling it, what an utterly disgracefully wasteful action. They're already confiscated. The miners have been fined. They're put in jail. Blah blah blah. They're learning their lesson. For a start, they could have auctioned it off, right? They could have done something. They could have run it. They could have found a good renewable source that wasn't stealing power from the grid or whatever, and run them and made money from it. And there was the auction that comes to my mind is the 2014 one. The Tim Draper ended up nabbing all of the nearly 30,000 Bitcoin for $19 million, which is, even at just today's values, over or roughly $1 billion. And they might not have needed to hodl. They could have just auctioned them and kept the money. It's just crazy that there's such waste, especially when when you think about we should be economizing, we should be reusing things. We recycle plastic bags, and yet there's people steamrolling over high-tech equipment that could be used to secure the Bitcoin network mine and make loads of money for the economy. It's just insanity, really. It's like biting your nose to spite your face. It reminds me of this is an awful story, but when I used to work at McDonald's, it's kind of, I don't know where the analogy is, but I'm sure it's kind of linked in my head. It's what I thought of when I saw this. But at McDonald's, the manager used to, when we finished, as soon as it was like 11 o'clock, he'd go around all of the trays and all of the burgers, and he'd spit in every single one so that no one could have them, and they'd be all counted as waste. And you'd be like, yeah, that is freaking rotten. So that's what I compare it to. It's like spitting in a Big Mac. that could have been eaten by someone. That's what it's like.
Now we go to ugly old goat to defend the Malaysian government, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to take the opposite view on all this stuff because, first of all, if you spit somebody's spittle on a Big Mac, it's just adding it more protein to it and giving you building your immunities. But they're doing the right thing. If the guys, here's the question: was somebody really stealing the electricity, or what's the real story? But if they were stealing electricity, then yeah, the seizure is the correct thing to do. And you know what? When it's all said and done, we're probably all better off that they steamrolled the thing, because if I've had stuff of mine auctioned off before and they do such a crappy job, either they do such a crappy job or else they're going to take a big, you're enriching the takers. And it's kind of like, well, when I was in prison, I did a study of all these drug offenders, and the drugs and the money never matched. And there was always like the honest cop maybe just took some of the money, and the dishonest cops would take, well, the money and the drugs. But in every case that I've found, the money wasn't, and they have the perfect argument too, because, if you see, well, you had I had $300,000 in my bank account. Well, no, there's only 100 there. Oh yeah, but if you say no, I got 300, you just get 5 more years because your sentence is enhanced. So it's kind of we're probably better off just steamrolling it, getting out of the hands of bureaucracy as fast as we can.
Who wants those dirty Malaysian government miners? They slow down the network. They don't know how to upkeep their machines. They probably can't even operate a can full of dust. Let's move on to the exit question. Which was a better photo op? As Dan referred to, the Silk Road auctions 1 and 2, which brought the US government hardly any money at all. We already spent it. It's gone. We could have built Smithsonian museums in every single capital city, fulfilling the American dream of a good museum near every American. Instead, we just got some millions of dollars that we just ate up in the government. Or the Malaysian steamroller? Was it better to burn the big money early or to physically destroy things? Josh Shigala, which did you prefer?
I miss the days where billionaires would build libraries and Smithsonian museums and stuff instead of sending themselves to space. But yeah, I don't know, whatever. The Bitcoin network doesn't care if it loses a bunch of hashes. It's just more propaganda nonsense. Next.
As Gil Scott Heron said, a rat just bit my sister Nell, but Whitey's on the moon. Dan, Eve, your thoughts on what was a better photo opportunity?
Well, it obviously, obviously went down quite well for the guys making the picture of the steamroller. They obviously made quite an effort, to get the press there and everything. But I don't know. I think the loss of that Bitcoin that the US could have just held for a little bit. 19 million it really wasn't a lot of money, and it wasn't really that long after that it started to, things started to get real crazy in Bitcoin price. So I think it was definitely a big loss for the US doing that auction. Big win for Draper though.
Again, we go to ugly old goat to defend the Malaysian government. What an incredible
I got to take the opposite side again. No. We got to be. I'm for limited government. I'm for smaller government. Sell the Bitcoin. Glad they did it. You got it. In fact, they did it wrong. They sold it. They should have just destroyed it and made all of us hodlers wealthy. Malaysia did it the right way. There wasn't as much Bitcoin there, but they steamrolled it. That Bitcoin's gone. It's gone. Now we don't, that 21 million, that pool's gone down maybe a little bit. That helps all of us.
Well, obviously, I support the creation of Smithsonian museums in all 50 states. It is a good idea for them to just destroy the Bitcoin. If it's so bad, if it's so harmful, it was created by the Silk Road, it touched drugs and things. How could you give that to billionaire Tim Draper? minding his own business, buying everything at your auction. This really smart guy, early investor in Hotmail, has a whole university dedicated to startups, and he buys your entire auction. And you're like, we got a really good deal for our government. Our government is a good client. Like, we could have gotten all those museums, but instead we made the rich guy richer. And
You wouldn't have gotten museums. You'd have just gotten more war.
It's like a theme on this show. We're like making rich guys richer, sending them into space, and never ever building any museums or free libraries for the people. That's right. That's right, Potter. Moving on to issue 4, making fun of JPMorgan. JPMorgan opens crypto trading to all clients, while previous banks had offered crypto trading just to the rich clients, just to the ones that could take the horrible risks that come from investing in a Ponzi scheme like cryptocurrency that's so obviously tied to drug dealers and ne'er-do-wells, assassins, the underworld, the dark web. Cryptocurrency created by a shadowy inventor, an unsigned, unknown man, woman, or team of people. And yet now, Jamie Dimon's well-established JPMorgan US Bank is providing all of their wealth management clients access to that dirty Bitcoin and other dirty cryptocurrency funds. Let's see, Dan Eve, your thoughts on JPMorgan suddenly opening up to Bitcoin?
Well, you know, there was right from when Jamie Dimon said it was a fraud or something, and then within the next week, price dumped, and then the Swedish arm of JPM bought a load of Bitcoin contracts or XBT contracts or something. You know, you could tell that there was a bit of market playing. You know, he's just another Elon. He knows what he's doing. You can imagine as well, like, I think wasn't his daughter that was really into it. So, you know, there's no way that she wasn't hammering every like dinner time, like going, "Oh, come on, Dad, come on, like just buy some freaking Bitcoin." But he U-turned like everyone else, like they all do. What's interesting is that they're the first bank to provide everyone now, not just the high net worth, which is cool. You know, we've moaned about that before when banks do finally start allowing it, and you know, and uncensoring the ability to buy Bitcoin via themselves or whatever, facilitating it. It's just been like, you know, high net worth, and it's only allowed to be like 2% of your portfolio. And so, yeah, it's a good thing that at least they're opening it up to everyone. It's not direct Bitcoin though, right? It's kind of funds from what I gather. So it's kind of not quite the same, but you know, it's kind of people dipping their toes into the pool. They buy a bit, they sort of get a bit excited. You know, they go through the roller coaster of it shitting the bed, and then being like, no, and then it going back up, and then being like, yeah. So they get on board. Then they start doing the research, and then like, why am I going to have JPMorgan hold my coins? I'm going to hold them all myself. But they also, what's quite interesting is that they're not allowed to recommend it, right? So they can't actually recommend it. So you can imagine how the calls go. They're like, sorry, did you say invest in Bitcoin? No, I said I have to rest due to a split groin. Oh, no, because now you're actually able to invest in Bitcoin. Oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Well, thanks for mentioning it. I didn't mention it, you mentioned it, but we can facilitate it for you. So I'd love to hear some of those conversations now. Yeah, good that they're opening up the floodgates finally.
So Jamie Dimon's daughter recommends it, but Jamie Dimon, professional banker who makes millions of dollars every year, told you not to buy. He should return his salary. That seems like fraud, unless he like washes the floors really well at Citibank. What does he do? Ugly Old Goat, your thoughts on JPMorgan, Jamie Dimon completely eating their lunch in front of everyone?
Well, does that mean that I can reopen the Chase bank account that they closed on me?
Expect a call any minute now. They'll be on the phone and conciliatory.
I mean, they closed me down because apparently I was buying crypto on the kit, and I got, where's my bank account? oh, well, I wonder if I suppose if I buy on JPMorgan, it's going to be my keys, right? Oh, or isn't there a thing, not your keys, not your Bitcoin? Oh, I think there might be more to this than we're looking at on the surface. who's where when I buy the stuff, where am I going to hold it? Did they answer that in the article? I didn't see that anywhere. Did you?
You
No.
can trust Uncle Jamie. He won't rehypothecate you.
Oh, I feel fine now. I don't need toilet paper anymore.
It's those big words. You got to know the jargon. Josh Shigala, any more financial jargon for us?
Yeah, look, I mean, JPM. The thing is, Ugly touched on it a little bit there. When we have another massive, scary banking crisis, they're going to bail themselves in with those funds to save themselves. They say, oh, well, not your keys, not your money. They can use that. Same with HSBC. They own the gold ETF, the major gold ETF. So they just bail themselves in. If you own an ETF, it's not allocated bullion. You're buying a certificate. And this is the same thing with this Bitcoin. Not only that, JPM, for those that don't know what a short is, just a quick explanation here. How you make money on the market going down is you borrow the funds from someone else, you sell it at that price, you wait for it to drop, and you buy it back. Now, that's a great actual function of the market. It's an important function of the market because it allows you to bet on something on the way down if something's overpriced. What a really fraudulent market is naked short selling, where they don't even have to borrow it. They just sell it. They just sell something that they don't have, put downward pressure, sell pressure, which crashes the price. This is how they destroy like silver and stuff. And we have great reports on how JPMorgan destroying the silver price to keep it suppressed. So, I don't trust these people. I don't trust them with Bitcoin. I think it's just part of it, part of mass acceptance that these banks eventually come on board and they play all their normal games. The fact of the matter is there's only 21 million. If they can't play these games too long. So when they do crush the price, when they do crush it, don't think, oh, Bitcoin's a failed experiment. No, buy it. Buy that dip, everything you can, because they are.
Exit question. How long before we see Bitcoin signs in the windows at banks? How long before banks are advertising with Bitcoin? 6 months, 1 year, or 2 years? Dan Eve.
I think the rate they're like closing down all the branches, it will never see it hanging in the window. So so I think they should continue to close down the branches and retire themselves, whilst the online e-money, it's not as an actually, but Bitcoin, the real like internet like money for the people, the World Wide Web money, that's P2P. That's where the money's at. So I don't see the need for banks much longer. So I doubt we'll ever see a Bitcoin sign hanging in there, sadly.
Ugly old goat, will the banks advertise with Bitcoin?
Well, I hate to say it, but I have to agree with Crypto Raptor. There's a wide varieties of opinion within the Bitcoin standard movement. And some people think that Bitcoin is going to become the world reserve currency. I'm of the opinion it never will be. And in fact, I don't think we even want it to be. And I think F.A. Hayek kind of outlined it correctly. He says, when he talked about competing currencies, he wasn't talking about competing standards like we have now with all these shit coins trying to want to be the standard, but he saw the development of one standard that competed with government standards. So I think it's much more likely that banks, government fiat banks, will return to gold before they will come to Bitcoin. And I think in that sense, Bitcoin can actually keep the gold standard honest, because it's kind of your escape money. I mean, I would love to be doing business in a country that had sound money. I mean, this thing in El Salvador is going to be so exciting, because it could become the Hong Kong of Latin America. It really could. And so we want to, that's where we want to be moving. I just don't see Bitcoin as being the reserve. I don't think monetary theory supports it. I think that's a lot of wishful thinking within the Bitcoin. I would call them Bitcoin fundamentalists.
Josh Shigala.
I don't know about the banks not being able to. I've been doing that for years for them. There's always an ATM with a Bitcoin sticker on. I don't know. I've been trying to help them out here. But no, look, retail banks, they will definitely start helping out with Bitcoin because that's how they make money. They offer products. Banks don't make money anymore. Retail banks, I'm talking about. Called JPMorgan and stuff, they play with the markets. But the retail banks, they make money on loans. And the interest rates, the negative interest rates in Europe here, it's very difficult. They have to sell insurance products. They have to sell all sorts of wacky products in their systems. So when you log into the website, it's like they just try to sell you other stuff. And the money transfer side of things is like a bait to get you in, basically. So yeah, they'll definitely. I know a couple of banks already that offer Bitcoin to buy Bitcoin through them. So yeah.
Talk to your financial planner. Find out if Bitcoin is right for you. Moving on to issue 5, Bitcoin trading higher at the end of the week. The price of Bitcoin was trading 0.6% higher early Friday morning. The price was around $32,460 a coin, while Ethereum and Dogecoin were trading around $2,057.19 per coin for Dogecoin. Is this the beginning of a new bull run, or is Bitcoin continuing to trend bearish? Ugly old goat, your thoughts on the price of Bitcoin?
I have no idea where the market is going, and I trade accordingly. So the question is not where is the market going, but what are you going to do if it gets there? And you don't want to be in a position where, if this thing drops down to $20,000 or $15,000, that you can't act because you're over leveraged. And by the same token, you don't want to miss out if this is the bottom. And I think there's you can make a good case right now either way. And the biggest thing hanging over the market right now is all these shit coins and all these other substitutes that we just are going to have to clean them out. There's some hard lessons that are going to be learned, I think, in the near future. And I think what's happening is it's happening on its own. It's not coming from us guys that are Bitcoiners, but it's coming from guys that really aren't Bitcoiners, like CoffeeZilla. The biggest frauds out there now is in the crypto world and the trading world, trading cryptos and owning cryptos. And I think, the house of cards is starting to collapse on its own. It's coming from within. No matter what that we say, they're not going to listen to us. They never have, and they never will. But they're going to listen to the people that have already taken their baths in these things. And that's when the awakening is going to come.
The market goes up. The market goes down. Get a taco. Josh Shigala.
Yeah, I agree here. This is a really tricky space in this. Usually there's a good trend. I felt like this is more of like a 2013 market where we sort of had a slow deflation, even though any normal sane person would say, whoa, that's a massive drop, which it effectively is in all, regards. But actually in the crypto world, it's been a slow sort of fizzle instead of a up crash. Way down more than half. It's been kind of a deflation of the market. So I think it's been just a correction. I do feel like we're still kind of in a bull. Really, we're just sort of like corrected a little bit, and I think by Christmas we'll be back up and at 'em for a little while for that second run, like 2013 was.
I'm a bull and I'm bullish. Dan Eve, are you feeling it?
I'm still swept away with stock to flow. I'm a believer, you know. I'm a Bitcoin believer. It does seem to be sort of trailing on the underlings of, you know, just kind of outside the boundaries, but it has happened before. But it does kind of seem like we're in that sort of, you know, the mid 2017 kind of low, like, you know, where things kind of seemed a bit like they were going to be, you know, slowly fizzling out. And then obviously in November, December 2017, everything went mental, and Bitcoin, you know, did this momentous rise to near 20K. So I'd like to see that do a return. But just for a few laughs, of course. So not just on Coinbase. I'm not picking on Coinbase specifically, but obviously, you know, they when they first sort of went on the stock market, the app rose to, you know, number one spot. It's now, I think, down to about 355th, although it's still like in the top 15, top 20 of the apps on iOS. But what's really sad is the Dogecoin chart on Coinbase. So I'm just going to very quickly share this. So this is Dogecoin, the history of Dogecoin on Coinbase. Now, kids, don't do drugs. Don't do Doge. So I hope many people didn't get burnt. I'm sure it will be back up again. If there is a mega big Bitcoin pump, I'm sure Doge will, you know, hit that crazy target of, well, I'm not going to say I'm sure. It may, you know, go back up, you know, along with Bitcoin. As everything else does, it gets carried away in Bitcoin's crazy, you know, blazing trail. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's Dogecoin on Coinbase.
This is what I find really horrific, is that there's fundamental ideas of Bitcoin is that there's 21 million, and Doge has literally the most ridiculous amount of inflation that it's possible. Like it's almost like Venezuela. Like, it's just silly. Yet it's never talked about by Elon. It's never talked about by you know, Coinbase. There's never any warning like, hey, by the way, guys, there's a massive amount of inflation in this token. So, you know, buy your own risk. Instead, it's like, oh, look at the funny face. That's not really even funny. It's just a picture of a dog looking like it's not even funny. And it's kind of sad that it's not being used as an educational piece. I mean, you're definitely guessing your education now if you bought that top. It's definitely an educational. You've burnt your fingers on that candle. But
Coinbase avoided this for so long. For so long, they were like, we're Coinbase. We judge the altcoins before we let them on, and we would never let that joke coin with the inflation bug that's constantly printing more of them onto our beautiful Coinbase platform. But now they did, and that's it. And there's nothing else they can do. Poor Coinbase Dogecoin buyers. Moving on to the exit question. Pit your predicting mites against the magical 8.8, the magical Bitcoin predictor ball. Ugly old goat. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher or lower this time next week?
I think it'll be higher. I think we've got it. I think there's a good chance we have put in the bottom now, but we'll see. Like I say, it's the big overhang is exactly what crypto was. I don't know which one of you showed that Dogecoin. I mean, that's true everywhere, guys. And how much that's going to affect Bitcoin, we just don't know. And this, the other thing too, the big risk is not Bitcoin. The big risk are these exchanges, because they're offering these shit coins, they have an inventory on them. And unfortunately, these exchanges are Bitcoin banks, and they're very, very poor banks, because they're not, a bank, it should be, if they're going to be in the financial business, they should be, there is such thing as self-liquidating commercial paper, where you can create non-inflationary purchasing media, but it's representing new goods coming in the marketplace. Shitcoins are not anything new, and they don't offer anything except the promise. You can't eat them. You can't. They're lousy. It's a lousy cash and sucks as a store value. And all these exchanges are hooked into them. So I think you got some real big problems coming with the exchanges, with the one exception, and that's BitMEX, because I think all those guys are indicted. If they could shut down BitMEX, they could, and you can actually go short all these shit coins and not own them. And that's the only way you want to trade. If you want to trade shit coins, you do it on the derivatives market, so you don't have to touch them. You can just trade them.
Well, say what you will about Deutschmarks, but they made fine wallpaper. Dan Eve, higher or lower?
Higher. I'm going higher.
Josh Shigala, does the positivity continue?
Yeah, I reckon we might see higher. I mean, Elon tweeted that he owns Bitcoin, so it's higher, isn't it?
There's no way the ball is going to agree with this. All this positivity going around. The ball is colored black for a reason. Here we go. Will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Most likely, even the ball agrees. We're moving on to predictions or story of the week. Ugly Old Goat, are you ready with a prediction or a story of the week? Go ahead.
My story of the week. Well, I have heard there's a rumor going around that Mad Bitcoin is going to be a master of ceremonies at the Bitcoin Standard Conference in Ensenada, Mexico. Is there any truth to that rumor?
I don't know. Maybe. Travel's looking pretty rough these days. I don't know. But I do think there's going to be a conference in Ensenada, Mexico. And I think Tone's going to be there and Giacomo's going to be there. And the whole crew, sounds like.
Oh no, you're not. Mad, it's questionable now whether Mad Bitcoin's coming.
It's looking pretty scary out there, man. I do think there's a great conference at bitcoinstandardconference.com, and everyone should check it out. And I don't want to scare people away, but everyone's got to make their own choices.
We're all
great conference.
We're all vaccinated down here, so I think it's going to be but I understand where you're coming from. I don't agree with it. But that's what the wonderful thing about this conference is. We are going to have a lot of people down here that don't agree with each other, and it might just be keeping the peace. Well, let me put it this way, guys. Mad Bitcoin is scheduled to be the master of ceremonies of this thing. So if he doesn't show up, it's because he's a COVID scaredy cat. And so here we go. Yeah, you can go down here, go down to the pictures there. We've got, go to the panelists up there. If you go to
the panelists,
Jimmy
go
up there. Yeah, no, that's the front page. Go up to the tabs and hit your panelists, because we got there you go. Just hit that and scroll down. I think we got a picture of Mad Bitcoin in there. There he is.
There he is.
So, master of ceremonies. He's been pegged in, and he's got the COVID heebie-jeebies here, but he's still pegged in until he says no. And so
you got Juan.
I think we need to do a vote on this. Yes, because if you want to support the conference, if you hit that mugshot, just hit your name up there, Thomas. Okay. Now, if you pay with Bitcoin, you can get a 15% discount if you think Thomas Hunt should be at this conference, Mad Bitcoin, just buy your ticket there. Scroll down there to register at conference. Go down there, go up. You were at it. There, hit register for conference. That takes you to the page, okay? And if you do the drop-down menu, we have all kinds of things. As long as you pay with Bitcoin, you get 15% discount. The package that we were promoting and is the best package. We call it the full ride, because this is a 5-day, 4-night conference. Okay. We have a carnivory dinner on Wednesday night. You come check in. I mean, on, Wednesday night, you check in the hotel, includes hotel, incidentally, all your stays. And you check in on Wednesday night and have a carnivory dinner that night. We have a 2-day conference. And then after that, after the second day, we take you from the hotel to the Horsepower Ranch, where we're going to go on an adventure tour with ATVs and these 4-wheelers. So it's really quite something. In fact, you can go there to the schedule, go down, you can see the schedule where we have Mad Bitcoin conference. We can do that. Here it is, guys. This is the Horsepower Ranch. This is the second part of it. Now, this whole thing is $19.95, but if you order it through Mad Bitcoin's picture, you get 15% off. So it's 5 days, 4 nights, $16.95. And it's incredible deal. And you can go to see what this thing's all. That's just the fun part. Now we work. It's a working. Go to the schedule up there, and you can see the conference. And there he is. We got the Mad Bitcoin at welcoming thing. He's a moderator. He's the MC, and he is moderating. Scroll down here. I think there you go. Thomas Hunt, how to use Bitcoin as your treasury.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Now I got that from Michael Saylor, because you know what? Michael Saylor is educating people. And, I love that term. I grabbed hold of it right away and say, yeah, that's right. Because that's what you do. We are using Bitcoin as our treasury. So, and these are all people that are doing it in real life. And so this is what this conference is about. We got all kinds of cool topics on this thing. We've got the hot issues, Bitcoin legal tender. Should it be embraced or should it be abolished? Whoa. I did a little poll. It's 5-1. The people want to embrace it. But you know what was funny? I was at that Miami conference, and the keynote speech by Ron Paul. Ron Paul came up and says, I've been working all my life to repeal legal tender laws. That's what I've been doing. And then what happened later on in the conference? We have Jack Miller. We just got legal tender in San Salvador. So these are great issues, guys. We're living in new times. These are fantastic things that need to be aired out, in a friendly environment. We all have a lot of different opinions. And that's what this is. This is a real Bitcoin standard conference. And, like I say, I don't care if nobody shows up. That's okay with me, because it's on me. I just want it to be the best Bitcoin conference that's ever been. And I want to welcome all of you guys to come. So hope to see you there. And if you can make plans for it, this is going to be the Woodstock event of 2021. If you missed this one, you say, oh, that was the one I shouldn't have got. And nobody died from COVID either.
Yeah. Man, that sounds good. That sounds good. I might have to take a closer look at that for sure.
All right. Well, that's all I ask, guys, because it's going to be super. We've got some workshops. Giacomo is going to have his building a node workshop. Jimmy Song's going to be doing his workshop on building on a blockchain. And those are the 2 days ahead of time. But the cool thing, Tone Vase is actually going to be taking the workshop with Giacomo's Nodes workshop. So if you come and you take the workshops and come early, you'll actually have 2 days hanging out with Jimmy Song, Giacomo Zucco, and Tone Vase in a very relaxed atmosphere. So that in itself is I think is really something that, if you've been successful this last 4 or 5 years and you really want to go to the next level, I want to invite you down here to Ensenada. We're free down here, much freer than you are anywhere else in the world. And until you get down here, you just can't believe it. So that's a little bit of goodness I want to share with all my fellow Bitcoins. This is my place. I've adopted it as my home. We can drive our ATVs and 4-wheelers out on the street. We don't have all these, we're not crazy. Oh, yeah, I mean, we're polite. We wear a mask walking into places, and you sit down and take them off. But that's about it. And and Plus, they all got vaccinated down here. Here last in June, they vaccinated. All the vaccines went to the Baja because we do so much border traffic here, and so the attitude down here has changed since they've all been vaccinated a lot. So, anyway, Thomas.
Looking forward to it.
It's not going to be a Bitcoin standard conference unless Mad Bitcoin is down here to MC it. He's the only candidate that it just won't be. It won't be a conference unless Mad Bitcoin. And you know what? If Mad Bitcoin comes down here, it's kind of like getting the blessing, because okay, you can come down here. It's safe now. And everybody tweet because we all, finally you got to
Yeah. And the thing is that Mad Bitcoins actually made Jimmy Song, brought all these people, birthed all these famous Bitcoiners into existence. They all appeared first on this show.
This is my first time being on this show. I hope he just birthed me because I agree with you. I learned tone days. Hey, look at all the guys. I got Tone Days and Jimmy Song. Both of them I watched on World Crypto Network first. Gabriel Divine. He was one of so he came to our Rookie Man's Bitcoin craze. He's coming back. And so, this is the birthing place. Like I say, it's really not a real big, they have all these conferences all over the world, but it's not a real Bitcoin conference unless Mad Bitcoin shows up.
That's true. You got to do it, Mad. You got to do it. You've had the vaccine, Mad. You got nothing to worry about.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll send it. Maybe I'll send a video. But everybody should check that out at bitcoinstandardconference.com. It's in Ensenada, Mexico, in just a couple of weeks. Tone will be there, Jimmy Song, Giacomo, the whole crew. Josh Shigala, do you have a prediction or a story of the week? Go ahead.
I got a story of the week. Check out this cool tote bag here. It has got the first block in there, the important first block, the message from Satoshi Nakamoto, and it's a bag. Of course, it's got some the standard.io. It's all about standard here. We've got the Bitcoin standard. We have the standard.io, which is our new project here. And we got some hats with the same thing on there because this is for me so important. When I saw this in the first block, I was totally stoked. So check it out. We've also got a Cypherpunks write code because that's what you do. If you've got an idea, you don't wait for governments to try to fix anything. You do it yourself, and that's what we're doing with the standard.io. We'll be at the blockchain days in Mallorca. And we'll be giving this merch out to anyone that's there. So join us in Mallorca next week, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. It's going to be great. If you're in Europe, check it out. Book yourself a flight right now. It's going to be a fantastic conference as well. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm giving a talk about how stablecoins are one-to-one pegged stablecoins are pretty much finished once the US goes into negative interest rates, just like the reason we don't have a euro stablecoin is because of that reason, and why algorithmic stablecoins are probably the way of the future in terms of stablecoins. That's my talk, and there's going to be a lot of really great people there. We have Peter Todd is going to be there. We have check it out, Blockchain Days Mallorca. It's going to be a Crypto Raptor is going to give an epic rap there, by the way. It's going to be really, really cool. We have who else have we got there? Have you got the agenda up?
I'm just getting it up now. So speakers so far, if I just roll through them, they are. So got Aaron Koenig, Christian Lurker, who was actually the organizer, Peter Todd, Dominic Frisby, did a very good book, a really good book actually, Bitcoin: The Future of Money. Some say it was like the first Bitcoin book. Amir Taki, Christoph
Amir Taki. Wow, that's a blast from the past.
Max Hillebrand, obviously of WCN as well. Of Josh Segala, Victoria Jones, Harry Halpin, Thomas Verklin, Vlad Kostia, Rachel Rose O'Leary, Dennis Correa, Bastian Freecher, Michael, also WCN. This list goes on. Claudia Buda, David Miller, Ben Ark, also WCN, Pavel Lukpak of
I'll have to send a video to this one too.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. And Alex Casas and Christian Rutzer as well. So it's quite a hardcore lineup. And I'm not officially on there yet, but I've just bought my ticket and done the first part. I just need to book in all my crazy tests, and then I'll be on the lineup.
I just need to get one of those little wheelie boys like Roger Ver had. It's like an iPad on a stick, and it's got a little remote control car under it. And I'll just send that out into the world. But it sounds like a great conference at Majorca Blockchain Days. That's coming up just this weekend or next weekend, Dan?
29th. Yeah, so it's the 29th to the 29th to the first. I'm there from like the 29th to the 2nd or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it's at Majorca Blockchain Days. And that's Mallorca, like that spelling, not the J. So Mallorca.
Yeah, and man, I got to say that the Bitcoin Standard Conference that's happening down in Mexico, that just sounds epic, and I wish I could make it. Sadly, I'm here in Europe. It's a bit of a trek to get over there, but I might have to have a closer look.
You know what? You know what? We are looking for sponsors, so I will cut you. You go look under the there's one tab up there that kind of outlines our program. Go up there where it says about, and the kind of outlines up there, because we'll send you, we'll give you a free ride on 2 people, and we'll put you on the panels too. I can only have room for like 3 more sponsors. That's it. That's all we're going to have. So I would love to have you guys. I mean, I really would. And it won't cost you much more than the price of a ticket. So
awesome.
If you make it, it'd be great. Check it out, and we got to, let's get together and see what we can do. Because I want to make this really. I didn't know about Europe. I didn't know where Mallorca was. So you said it was in Spain. I was going to ask you, where's Mallorca?
Yeah, it's the second Germany. Basically, it's full of Germans up there.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's an island as well, so it's the Balearics, like just kind of southwest. Yeah.
Well, you know what? If Mad Bitcoin doesn't show up, I got to find a new master of ceremonies anyway.
I think Patrick, Bitcoin motorist, is very good, and Tone Vase is also good. He likes to talk. Everyone, check out the WCN Clips channel on YouTube. Just Google WCN Clips. We've got all kinds of clips from the show. Maybe next week we'll be in a WCN Clips.
Yeah, check it out right now. Do it. We really want to get that above 100 subscribers, so just chuck it in there.
55 at the moment, so we're getting there. Links in the chat now.
There you go. Subscribe to WCN Clips, and we're running out of time. I think this is the end of the show. Until next time, bye.